Would you risk your life for a stranger, knowing you might not survive? Henry never imagined his answer would turn his world upside down. Henry had always hated Tuesday dinners at his mother-in-law's house. The meatloaf was as dense as her grudges, and the conversation stung more than her cheap perfume. This time the unease was thicker than usual. His wife, Linda, barely looked at him, and their teenage son Nathan stabbed at his food with the sulkiness of a man twice his age. Still, Henry tried to play the role of the good son-in-law, biting his tongue as Eleanor rattled off another list of his shortcomings. He excused himself the moment dessert arrived, store-bought cake again. The evening air was a relief, damp and gritty, the city's smells blending into something almost familiar. He never took the shortcut through the alley, but tonight he needed air more than dignity. That's when he heard it, a muffled scream somewhere between a cry and a cough. He froze, then ran toward the gutter lining the crumbling sidewalk. What he saw made his heart stutter. A small figure thrashing in filthy water, little hands reaching up, then disappearing under the oily surface. Henry didn't think. He just leapt feet first, mind last, into the reeking water. He hadn't swum since college, and panic surged in his throat, sharp and cold. Don't be stupid, Henry, he thought. You can barely dog paddle in a bathtub. But the child's face bobbed up, eyes wide and silent, and Henry lunged. He caught hold of a tiny wrist, slipping in the grime, his breath burning. For a moment time splintered. Memories of his own son's laughter, the first time Nathan called him Dad. The sound of Linda slamming doors during their worst fights. With a grunt, he heaved the child upward, slipping and cursing under his breath. His arms ached. Something sharp tore his palm, but he wouldn't let go. Not now. Neighbors began to gather, their voices echoing off the brick. Who is it? Is he crazy? Someone call 911. Henry ignored them, focusing on the limp child in his arms. Dark curls matted with sludge, lips blue, tiny chest heaving. He stumbled out of the gutter, shoes squelching, and laid the child on the cold concrete. Chest compressions. He'd seen it on TV, but never like this, real, urgent, final. Someone handed him a towel. Linda's voice rang out. Henry, what are you doing? But all he saw was the child's chest rising, shallow, then deeper. A cough. Another. The child spat up black water and began to cry. Relief hit Henry like a punch. But as sirens wailed in the distance, he realized everyone was staring at him. Not with admiration but suspicion. What was Henry doing out here? Whose kid was this? The first injustice had only just arrived. What if your moment of heroism was twisted into something dark? As the night unfolds, the real danger moves from the gutter into Henry's own home. The ambulance lights painted the block in sickly red and blue. Henry sat on the curb, shivering, wrapped in a scratchy blanket. The crowd had grown. Neighbors, paramedics, 2 cops, even Mrs. Finch from across the street, clutching her chihuahua like a weapon. The rescued child, now identified as Milo, age 6, new to the neighborhood, was whisked away, his mother sobbing thanks, her face a mess of fear and relief. But as Henry tried to stand, a police officer blocked his path. Mind telling me what you were doing out here, sir? The cop asked, eyes narrowed. I heard a scream. Saw the kid. I just jumped in. Alone, huh? Another officer stepped up. You're not related to the family? No. I've never seen them before tonight. Linda arrived, her heels clicking, eyes wide and wild. He's a good man. He was just trying to help. But as the officers exchanged looks, Henry felt something shift. Was it just protocol? Or suspicion? The crowd's whispers prickled his skin. Later at home, Henry stripped off his filthy clothes, shoving them in a trash bag. Linda hovered in the doorway, arms crossed. "You could have died," she hissed. "Or worse, gotten us all in trouble." In trouble? For saving a child. She looked at him like he'd grown a second head. "You know how things look these days, Henry. Everyone's got an angle." He flinched. "I didn't do anything wrong." But as the night dragged on, the phone rang. A cop wanting a few more details. Then Nathan burst in. "Kids at school are saying Dad's a weirdo. That he hangs out where he shouldn't." Henry snapped. "I saved someone, Nathan. Maybe you could try that, instead of rolling your eyes at dinner." Nathan stormed out. Linda retreated to the bedroom, slamming the door. Henry sat alone in the kitchen, staring at his scraped knuckles. He should feel like a hero. Instead, he felt like the city's dirtiest secret. He didn't know then the real fallout was just getting started. What happens when your family's trust starts to crumble? One accusation at a time. Sometimes the scars left by a single night are deeper than you think. Henry hadn't slept. He sat hunched at the kitchen table, watching gray morning light seep through the blinds, tracing the crack in his favorite mug with a trembling finger. The silence was heavy, too heavy. He could hear Linda pacing in their bedroom, hear Nathan's muffled voice as he FaceTimed a friend behind a closed door. The phone rang. This time it wasn't the police. It was Milo's mother, sobbing with gratitude. Her words tumbled out. Thank you, I don't know what would have happened." Then a pause, sharp as a snapped twig. "The officers, they had some questions. They said you acted alone? No one else saw you go in?" Henry's stomach clenched. "No. I just heard him. That's all." A heavy silence. "They said you live close by. I don't want to trouble you, but if you hear anything, if anyone starts saying things," he assured her, his voice thin. After he hung up, his hands shook. The aftertaste of fear and shame crawled up his throat. Why did everything good he tried turn into an interrogation? The news spread faster than Henry could run. At the hardware store, old Mrs. Carmichael eyed him like he'd stolen the paint thinner. At the pharmacy, a mother pulled her daughter away. And at home, the questions grew sharper, the looks colder. Nathan snapped first. "Dad, why did you even get involved? Everyone's saying you're a creep." Henry's anger flared. "You think I jumped into a gutter for fun, Nathan? Maybe next time, I'll just stand by and do nothing." Linda cut in, voice tight. "Don't talk to him like that." The argument exploded, years of tension bubbling up. Money, work, old mistakes. "You always have to be the hero, Henry," Linda spat. "But you never think about the cost. Or who gets to pay it." He wanted to shout, to defend himself. Instead, he stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the glass. As he wandered the block, neighbors stared. He saw two boys whisper and point. Their laughter followed him all the way to the bus stop. By the time he got home, Linda was on the phone, her voice hushed, urgent. She hung up quickly when he entered. "That was the school," she lied too quickly. "Nathan's principal." He eyed her, suspicion gnawing at his nerves. She'd always been a terrible liar. At dinner, no one spoke. Even Eleanor was silent. The meatloaf tasted like sawdust. After, Henry sat outside, watching rain wash the gutter clean. For a second, he wondered what would have happened if he'd just kept walking. If he'd chosen to look away. But he knew the answer. He wasn't that man.